Listen here, I'll tell you what to do. You don't have to cry and pout. You don't have to scream and shout. All you have to do is let it out. Take my hand, come with me. I'll show you the world I see. We won't put others down, we'll just laugh and play around. But mostly what we'll do is let it out. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of the Let It Out podcast. This episode of the Let It Out podcast, I don't know what episode it is. I think this is 6 or something. I don't know. I've completely lost track because we're terrible at recording and uploading and editing, and we're bad at this. But that's fine because we're here recording an episode. I'm your host, Brian, and with me, as always, is my co-host,
I'm Kayla.
How's it going, babe?
I'm okay.
This was your idea.
This was my idea.
Recording.
Yeah.
Like, in recording sessions past, normally it's like, I kind of have to hound you about it. But we've been talking recently at like, we need to get a regular uploading schedule, a regular recording schedule. We need to fucking pick out topics and shit before we talk. But we've just been talking about that, but, at the beginning of this week, you were like, alright, we're gonna record on this day, I'm gonna try to upload on this day, so you really took the initiative this time.
So we talked about it, and we think we're gonna try and upload every other week. So bi-monthly, so every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, we'll try to have an episode
and
up.
And there's an episode that we recorded before this one, that I'm hoping to have up sometime this week, and then this will probably go up like Friday or sometime this weekend.
This
coming weekend
is September the 3rd.
It's Labor Day.
It's Labor Day. It is 2018. It is 7:20 in the PM. That's another thing I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start introducing the episode and then introducing ourselves, and then I'm going to give the date and time of recording. So that holds us a little more accountable for recording date as opposed to publishing date.
Yeah.
So if we do go a long time between recording sessions and uploads from now on, you'll definitely hear about it. And you'll know.
Well, there may not be a show next week. If I upload this weekend, so people that are listening to it, there may not be 1-2 weeks from now, because I am having my wisdom teeth removed
I could try to
2 weeks.
I could try to
we'd have to record before
I could try
the surgery.
Yeah, I could try to cut stuff.
Hello everyone,
Well, I think it would be good to record. Oh man, I'll fucking record you on the drive home.
No,
it'd be good to record before, and then you could talk about like your jitters, and I could tell you like dental horror stories.
I don't want to hear
horror
stories.
I don't know the exact percentage, so I'll just pull it out of my ass. But a majority of complications during surgery are anesthetic related.
Yeah, I know that.
So if you die.
That was like one of the questions they asked me when I was at the dentist office. They're like, so do you have any history of problems with anesthesia or anyone in your family? And I was like, nope. But yeah, I know that's usually what causes problems.
Death, not just problems.
Yeah.
Death. It causes death.
I mean, they're not putting me under for the surgery, but...
Oh my god, really?
I mean, I'm basically gonna be, like, not all there, but I'm not gonna be, like, asleep for it.
Aren't you normally, like, not all there?
You're one to talk.
Okay, fuck you. We've got quite a lot of topics. For this episode, at least, one of the first things I want to kick off with is, let's talk about, I went to my first concert in August, the 19th it was.
Yep.
So, still, it was only like 3-4 weeks ago, and it was my first concert ever, and it was the Smashing Pumpkins, and Kayla went with me, only just to be a nice girl, because she wanted to come with me and help support me and make sure I was okay going to my first concert, because I'm not the biggest fan of crowds or like gatherings of people. And when we were in fucking downtown, it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were so many people, because there was also a Minnesota Twins game going on at the exact same time, and so downtown was just fucking flooded with people. The cops had like streets closed off and everything, so it was crazy going downtown. But once we got into the show, I would say I enjoyed myself fucking thoroughly. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I had a good time.
I had an amazing time. Like, the opener was good. And, over the past, I'd say 2 years straight, I've been, like, really getting into the Smashing Pumpkins, like, diving deep into the discography, learning about the lead singer and the story behind the band and all kinds of shit. So I thought it would be a good choice for me as a first concert. And one of the people I know on Facebook who lives in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, he is like a concert goer. He goes to all the concerts in the summer. He goes to see like everything, and he said it was the best show in the cities this year. So it was a pretty good first concert for me to go to, I think. I had a lot of fun. It was a 10 out of 10 night for me, at least.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Yeah, and Kayla's not even into the music.
No, I don't really.
She's actually mocked me for my like of the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, I think Billy Corgan has like the weirdest sounding voice ever.
He's got a good voice.
He's like, that's what it sounds like to me. But, like, I don't know.
Despite all the rage, I'm still just Nicolas Cage.
I mean, not that, but, yeah, Bullet with Butterfly Wings is probably my favorite Smashing Pumpkin songs. I know, basic bitch. But to be fair, I actually didn't really know that song or like it until about, like, 2 weeks before the concert, so.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I feel like I'd played it for you before,
no,
but maybe
I mean,
you just
I've
didn't
heard
dig
it. I think finally listening to it and hearing that, like, bass riff, I was like, oh my god, it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Almost all of Smashing Pumpkins songs have, like, really good rhythm. Very good rhythm section. Fucking Jimmy Chamberlain is, like, one of the greatest drummers to ever live, I think. But, I mean, we're not going to just talk about Smashing Pumpkins all night, although I could easily, probably.
Here, I'm going to say this. So, my mom actually got us tickets to go see Paul McCartney next summer.
We're going to talk about this?
Just briefly.
Okay.
And he doesn't want to go. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Because he's probably never gonna... Well, he might still tour again, but...
He'll still tour. That man will tour until he dies.
Like, my mom is, like, in love with Paul McCartney. Like, really a lot. And she's been to see him 5 times, so this is going to be her 6th time seeing Paul McCartney. That's how much she loves Paul McCartney. That every time he tours anywhere near us, she's like, immediately like, I need tickets. But usually what happens with tickets is that scalpers buy them up the second they go on sale, and then
so
they
sell out.
Resell them for like $1,000 a pop.
Yeah, for
and
like
we
4
managed
times
to get
the price.
My mom said they were like $150 a piece, which to go see Paul McCartney is really cheap.
That's cheap. Whereabouts are the seats? Are they nosebleeds?
Probably.
See, that's another reason
but
why
it's,
I don't want to see a show in the nosebleeds.
It's in Moline, Illinois, and I've been to I don't even know what it's called, the iWireless Center or whatever. That's where I went to see Green Day, and, like, it's not... I don't even know what the iWireless Center functions as normally, but it's not like a football stadium.
It might be. It might be like an arena football. They might have an arena football team.
I mean, I think they may have a minor league hockey team in there, and I think that might be the stadium that they play in.
Maybe.
But it's not like a huge... I mean, it probably fits like 20,000 people, but it's not like a huge, it's not like Soldier Field where you're going to be sitting like hundreds of feet above
Sure.
the guy.
Well, we went to see Smashing Pumpkins where the Minnesota Wilds play.
Yeah.
At the Xcel Energy Center.
It's not that big.
It's not even that
as big as the Xcel Energy Center.
Well, I was gonna say because the people in the nosebleeds, like they were far back, but I would say even if we were there during this show, I probably still would have had just as much fun because we were decently close. I'd say we were probably like 30 rows in from where the stage was.
We were 10 rows up.
And 10 rows up, yeah, only 10 rows up from the floor. So it was good. It was good seats. The tickets were like $130 a pop, which wasn't bad. Floor seats were fucking crazy. I did look at them, but then I was like, holy fuck, to sit in the back row of the floor seats was like $400.
That's so weird. Like
ticket.
It was so weird going to because they had like folding chairs out, and all the concerts that I've been to before, floor seats didn't have seats, are standing only.
Standing room only.
And I was really surprised that they were like actually
And they're normally
seats.
cheaper. They're normally cheaper because there's no seats.
Yeah.
Floor seats are normally cheaper.
But Blind Guardian I had to stand, but the whole thing was standing room only. So, but I was so close to Blind Guardian, that was amazing.
Yeah,
I was like
Hansi's sweat
No,
on your face?
no, I wasn't that close. I was probably like maybe like 15 feet away from the stage.
That's pretty good.
So I was like...
I mean, we weren't like super far and we weren't super close, but I could still easily make out everyone on the stage. I could see Billy's like facial twitches and stuff. Like I could see his face. I could make out his face. We were that close. You could see all the light fixtures gleaming off of his beautiful bald head.
I was gonna say, I didn't really dig a lot of the people that were sitting around us, but that seems to just be a trend with me at concerts.
I mean, it wasn't like, that bad.
Like the people that were sitting right in front of us obviously thought that Brian and I were just completely nuts because it was like this really big bald guy who looked like he'd been to prison a couple times, and his like disabled wife, which I don't know why she's like disabled sitting in the bleachers, but who knows.
She did sit the whole time.
But he kept like looking back at us and like glaring at us. I'm like, what do you want?
I was like yelling and probably singing as loud as I could, although it's the singing.
You can't hear anyone else
exactly.
around you.
The singing was coming from my mouth and my mouth is pretty fucking close to my ears. I couldn't hear myself singing over the music. It was fucking loud as shit. But that's another thing I'll say about the concert is that one of the things I kind of, because you look up live footage of people on YouTube, and the biggest sound issue I have found with live performance is that vocals they're just buried in the mix. They're not clear enough. It's just the mic isn't loud enough over the bass. And lyrics and vocals are pretty much the most important part of a song to me, in my opinion. That's just like what I tend to gravitate towards more. Like if a song sounds like shit and the singer's annoying, but the message connects with me, I will probably still like the song. But the mix at the Pumpkins concert was fucking amazing. Everything was perfect. The guitars were just loud enough. The bass was just bassy enough, just clear enough to where you could hear everything. And vocals shone above all. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't hear the opening band singer, like, really at all. Like, I couldn't really make out any of the words she was saying. No.
Oh, well, that's just more the way she sings. No. Well, and that's also, well, I told you that about Smashing Pumpkins songs, is that on studio, a lot of the studio things, it's like there's so much vocal distortion on Billy's voice that it's kind of hard to make out a lot of what he says, especially, that combined with the way he sings. No, he was very clear, and I think his voice sounds better now than it ever has. He put out a solo album last year, towards the end of last year, that I think is a fucking masterpiece. It's just like really good, and his voice is like so soft and like beautiful in certain songs. Don't laugh.
No, I'm just gonna say, before we move on, I just wanted to kind of go back to like, I want to tell the story just really quick of the people that I was sitting by at the Green Day concert. So, I went to see Green Day when I was 16. and I went with my best friend, and we were sitting, and we brought in our phones, and we were taking pictures and taking videos, and this woman that was sitting behind us had to weigh at least 400 pounds. At least. She was a big girl. And she and her,
That's a huge bitch!
It was, like, her and, like, her friend, who is, like, equally as huge. And they were just absolutely shit-faced. Like, they walked and they sat down and they had, like, a cup of beer that was, like, probably, like, a yard. It was, like... They were just absolutely shit-faced.
Conservatively, a yard of beer.
Yes, it was huge. I mean, I can show Brian how long it is, but that's about what I would say.
A yard. That's not a measurement of liquid.
A yard. It was like 3 feet long.
Okay, sure. Like, how big around was the cup?
It
was like regular, like tumbler size?
It was like that.
Okay,
but it was still like 3 feet long.
Well, that's something I'll also say about the people you were talking about at the Smashing Pumpkins concert, is they also seem to be pretty intoxicated.
Yeah.
I had 2 drinks. Kayla had
I had 2.
2 drinks, I think, as well. So we did not get drunk. Kayla doesn't like to get drunk. Kayla had to drive.
Yeah.
I didn't even get drunk. I kind of wanted to be mostly lucid for the... I smoked a little bit on the drive up and right before we got into the cities, but I didn't drink that much. Anyways,
so me and my friend, we would get out our cameras and like take pictures of the show. And I remember I was standing there and all of a sudden I felt something like hit me on the back of the head. And I was like, what the heck? And, you know, I was excited, so I just kind of ignored it. And like,
hang on a second. Let's not just glance over that.
I can't really remember.
You were
what
so
happened.
Happy that Billy Joe was fucking having the time to listen to him whine that a woman assaulted you.
I didn't know she'd hit me in the back of the head. Okay, I didn't really understand what happened, and then it happened again.
That's weird.
And I saw it. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. She hit my friend, and we both looked at each other like, what? and and then she hit me a third time, and I turned around and I screamed at her. I said, stop fucking touching me. And she, like, I was 16 years old at this point, so she's lucky she didn't get arrested for assaulting a minor, honestly. And my mom said the same thing too. Like, she was like, because she saw it happen, and she was like, stop hitting my daughters. I mean, my friend's not her daughter, but you know. And so after I said that, she gets up and she goes and gets security and tattles on us because we have cameras out, and you're not supposed to have cameras filming, taking pictures or anything. And so we get yelled at, even though this bitch was punching us in the back of the head, and I was only 16 years old at this time. My friend was 18, but, like, honestly, she's lucky she didn't go to jail, because, I was so mad. And then she was like, she got up in the middle of the concert, and she went, down on the aisle, because we were near the aisle, and she went down and walked down to the rail, and she was dancing, and she had a thong on. And remember how I said she was like 400 pounds? So she's shaking her ass, 400 pounds, and the security guard was like, ma'am, you need to sit down. And she's like, just drunk as fuck. So yeah, that was like, the concert was great, except for the drunk bitch that punched me in the back of the head like 5 times, but you know.
Which to me would make a bad concert.
Brian, if you'd been there and someone punched you in the back of the head, you would have punched him back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was going to say. I've never heard you sound more white than when you and your mom threaten to get someone arrested or think someone should be arrested over, like, some fucking sucker punches thrown. No, if someone sucker punches you, you fucking punch them in the face and you knock their ass out. That is the correct human-to-human response.
I mean,
there's no need to get fucking bacon involved.
I mean, I don't know. Assaulting a minor is a pretty serious crime.
Sure, but if I'm a minor and an adult assaults me, I'm going to assault them back.
Well,
because assaulting an adult as a minor, not as serious an offense as assaulting a minor.
Well, I'm not a fighter. I've never hit someone.
I'm not a fighter either.
So
I've been in like 2 real fights in my life.
I'm not a fighter. I've been in 2 fights. You know how many fights I've been in?
That's not a lot of
0.
fights. That's not a lot of fights. Especially considering I got bullied a lot as a kid. Like, there was only, 2 kids that ever, wanted to fight me. And growing up in my neighborhood. And so I would just get into... I would get into a lot of fights with those kids, but only 2 separate instances with 2 separate people did I ever get in serious fight. And even the fights with those kids was more like neighborhood dick measuring contests than anything else. We were fucking thinking we were doing kung fu and shit. We were dumb. Little boys are fucking stupid. Thing. Yeah, that's true. I would also like to point out that the tangent that you tried to go off on about the Paul McCartney thing didn't happen. I don't want to go see Paul McCartney is the wrap up of that story. I don't want to go see Paul McCartney. I've seen Paul McCartney's concert movies, and Paul McCartney has been putting on the same show for the past 15 years. I've seen the show already. It's a decent show. I don't necessarily need to see it in person. His voice is gone. He's one of the live mixes I'm talking about where the vocals are kind of buried and everything, because no one really wants to acknowledge how bad his voice sounds now. It makes me sad to hear how bad his voice sounds now. I didn't think
he sounded that bad.
When did you, that was fucking 10 years ago?
No. I didn't see him, but my mom went to see...
He's almost an 80-year-old man now.
My mom went to see Paul McCartney at Wrigley Field in 2012. So that was 6 years ago. And we stood outside and we listened, and I didn't think it sounded that bad.
Paul McCartney trying to do the ending fucking 6 minutes of Hey Jude.
Yeah, that's what we were listening to.
Makes me want to kill myself. It's so bad now. He sounds like... It's not bad. It's not just bad enough that he looks like an old woman, like he looks like Angela Lansbury. He sounds like a dying old woman when he tries to sing like that. It just doesn't sound good. I saw him, he tried to do I've Got a Feeling, which is one of my favorite Paul Beatles songs. Like, his fucking vocal performance on that song is so rough and raw, but now he just sounds like a cat whose tail you stepped on. It's bad. I can't do it. I can't listen to it. It's just bad.
We're gonna have this argument several times over the next year, because the concert isn't until next year, but... I don't know. We're going to have to discuss this. Did she already buy the tickets? She's bought the tickets already.
God. Without consulting me. That's the best part. I have to try and have this argument with her mom after she spent hundreds of dollars on me.
She called me up and she was like, "Is Brian there?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Do you think Brian would want to go see Paul McCartney?" And Brian was asleep. And so I responded on behalf of what I thought Brian would say, and I said, "Yeah, probably." And apparently I was dead wrong.
Yeah, you were pretty wrong. Well, we've had pretty much a similar conversation before, and so you should have known.
I'm just supposed to remember every little detail.
Well, if you could remember anything every once in a while,
remember
that would be nice.
I remember more things than most people do.
Okay, well, I told you one of the main reasons I wanted to go see the Smashing Pumpkins is because listening to Billy on Joe Rogan talk about what he thinks about putting a show together and why he sings the songs that he does and why he can't just go out there and do just the songs for an hour and a half, why he wants to play the deeper tracks. After explaining all that to you, you would think I would want to go see a show that was the exact opposite of that.
I don't know what kind of shows Paul McCartney puts on.
I've told you that.
I don't know shit about Paul McCartney.
I told you that he's been playing the same, not exactly the same set list, but pretty much a variation of the same set list for maybe even 20 years. It might even be 20 years.
What? You know what? You don't go?
No, I'll go.
I'll go, and I'll take Jana with me.
No, I will go.
Jana would like
Fuck
it.
Jana. I will go.
What?
And I will go, and I'll just, whatever. If it's good, whatever, but it probably won't be. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine, because it's a show, it's live music. Penn Jillette has said about seeing Paul McCartney live that he would pay just as much as he pays for front row tickets to see Paul McCartney just to see his drummer do a show. And I agree, his drummer is fucking amazing. His drummer sings the John harmonies in the songs. And so he's singing and drumming, and he drums not exactly like Ringo, but it's in the style of. It's really good. So I'll go. I'm sure it'll be fine, but
we need to move on to our next.
I may start making
piece
fun
of
of
business.
his voice afterwards, and
Right.
maybe even during. Okay, don't yell at me. Listen, the episode can be as long as the episode is gonna be.
Excuse me.
What?
Are you gonna edit the episode?
I'll edit some of the episode.
Fine.
You edit half the episode, I'll edit half the episode. Does that sound fucking
anyways,
nice and even?
I think we've said you've made your piece about Paul McCartney. Now it's time to move on.
Yeah, okay, so the next thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to have Kayla take the reins of topic. You don't have the thing pulled up? You just have it memorized?
I mean, I have a lot of it memorized.
Okay.
But I can...
Well, you can start from what you have memorized. All right. And do I know this story you're gonna...
I doubt it.
I don't know the story you're going to talk about. All right, so this is something new for me as well. So that's nice.
In the past...
Hang on a second. Before you start, can you, layer creepy music under this when you read the story?
Maybe. We'll think about it. In the past... few months or so, I've gotten really, really interested in, unsolved cases and, disappearances and murders and stuff like that. And so, this is the case that I'm gonna kind of explain a little bit about today.
How depressed am I gonna be at the end of this?
I don't know.
You don't?
No, I don't. So...
I mean, I'm a pretty sensitive bitch.
So... This case is about the Delphi murders, which took place in Delphi, Indiana.
Could you spell that?
Delphi, Delphi.
Okay.
And this happened just last year, so it's a pretty recent case. And basically what happened is that two friends, Abby Williams and Libby German, were... they had that day off school. This was February 13th. They had the day off school. It was a really nice day out for February, which if you're from the Midwest, a nice day in February, pretty rare.
Where was it again?
This is in Indiana.
Indiana, okay. Is that the Midwest?
Yes.
Okay.
On February 13th, they get dropped off by this abandoned bridge in Delphi, and they're gonna go hiking.
Red flag number 1.
Well, it was like I said, it was a nice day.
Was it like a trail?
Yes,
oh,
it was a trail. And this was kind of a place where people in the town would go.
Okay.
Walk, run.
So not that out
hiking.
of the ordinary.
Yes.
Okay.
I can't remember. Someone came to come and get them later on in the day. And when they arrived there, they were nowhere to be found. And so they tried calling them. No one answered.
The kids? They tried calling the kids?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess they would have cell phones.
Yeah. This was 2017. Wasn't that long ago. So, they go looking for these girls. They don't find them. And they, hiked up and down the trail and they didn't find them. And then so, at 5:30 that night, they call the police and report them missing. And at this point, they did not think that, anything bad had happened. Well... as in, murder had happened. Basically what they thought had happened is, one of them ended up getting hurt or something, and they were waiting for help. But, as we will learn, that's not what happened. And so, they searched, and then eventually it got too dark. Just keep searching.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they called out the search, and they started again the next morning. And that is when they found their dead bodies. Kind of, not on the trail, but kind of, off to the side. It was actually on someone's property line of their farm.
Oh.
That they were.
Ooh, red flag number 2.
No, actually that comes up is that the person who owned the farm actually had an alibi, and it's kind of
What kind of a fucking? I was milking the cows.
No.
I was shucking corn.
What happened was he actually was on probation, and he wasn't allowed to be driving. And I can't remember what it was he was doing, but he was off driving that night.
Oh, okay. So his alibi cost him...
He had to break his
probation.
Parole,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, but I guess it's better than being,
a murder suspect?
Pinned on a
Fuck
murder
yeah,
you didn't do.
Free my nigga Stephen Avery.
But anyway, so they find the bodies, been murdered. And as they do the investigation... The biggest thing that they find is they find that Libby took a picture of a guy who seems to have been following them on the bridge.
Oh, really? She took it, like, while they were hiking?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And she took it, put it on Snapchat, and I'm going to show you here. Those are the pictures that she took.
Oh,
of
that's
the guy
a creepy fucking dude.
that was following them.
That's a creepy fucking dude.
There's a police sketch.
That looks like... That's a BQ hat right there.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So she took pictures of this guy, and this is the prime suspect of the murder right now. And also, she had the foresight to she actually recorded, like, once this creepy guy started following them or whatever, she started recording them, and they
Audio or video?
I think it was a video recording, but
Okay.
they've only ever released audio recording of it.
Okay.
But yeah, he obviously, like, it's of a guy saying down the hill.
Down the hill?
Someone, like, close enough that he hears saying down the hill, like, commanding them.
Oh, like, oh, fuck. Oh, my God.
And that's that's the only part of the audio that's ever been released, I assume, because of, like, investigation in the murder.
That's creepy. I don't even, just you describing that sounds fucking creepy. I don't even need to hear that shit.
And then what ended up happening is that they found a guy who matched, like, the description of this guy, like, to a T. What was his name? Daniel J. Nations.
What? What the fuck? Okay, so first of all, 3 names. That's usually a thing.
No, Daniel J. Period Nations. Like, that's his middle initial.
Oh, okay.
And this is what Wikipedia has to say about it, so keep in mind this may not be completely accurate.
Yeah, take from that what you will.
In September 2017, a possible suspect was identified with the arrest of Daniel J. Nations in Colorado. Nations is a registered sex offender in Indiana and was driving a car with an expired license plate at the time of his arrest. He was threatening people on a trail, not this specific trail, with a hatchet. And he actually shot someone on their bicycle. I think that was in Colorado. So this guy has a history, sex offender, and a murderer.
History of violence. And so he's the suspect, and he matches all the descriptions?
Yep.
So right now they're, like, weighing evidence? Or
No.
Is the trial ongoing?
This is the fucked up part, and, you know, unfortunately I don't have time to, like, get into every little detail about it, but this guy pretty much matches the exact description of looks like the guy in the picture.
Does he have an alibi?
No.
I
don't know. I don't know what I haven't looked it up. But in early February 2018, police announced Nations was no longer considered an active person of interest. He was never even a suspect. He was just a person of interest. Which there is a difference.
Well, explain the difference. Can I take a guess as to, well, that actually looks like someone I know. Can I take a guess as to the difference between a suspect and a person? Okay, so a person of interest is just someone who may be tied to the case, and a suspect is someone who's actually suspected of having committed the crime.
Yep.
Okay, boom!
Basically,
I know shit.
Yep. And so that's kind of the mystery, is that, especially now that they've
acquitted this guy, or cleared this guy?
Well, at least don't consider him a person of interest anymore. The murder is completely unsolved. They have no idea who did it. And
what
Delphi,
they in the business would call a cold case.
Yes. Delphi is not a big town. It's not a city. It's like a tiny little pissant town.
What's the population?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
I'll look that up real quick. Keep talking.
I don't really know what else to say about it. That's just kind of like a brief overview.
Do you find this stuff on Reddit?
No, I found this on YouTube.
Okay. Just checking. Cause I know
Delphi, population 2,877.
Okay, because I know there is like a Reddit thing for stuff like this. I mean, there's a subreddit for everything, but...
I'm sorry if, like I said, this wasn't, like, very, like, formally planned out, so I'm sorry. Like,
no, it's fine.
If you are interested in this case, feel free to look it up.
It does seem interesting.
I would put relevant phone numbers to contact, but unfortunately I don't know them either. If you have any information. If you have any information about the Delphi murders, or who committed them, please let the police know, because this is horrible that these 2 little girls were murdered.
If you murdered these 2 little girls and you listen to our podcast,
I mean,
could you please turn yourself in, dude? That's not cool. Don't go murdering little girls.
It's hard. It's a little touchy subject, Brian. Not really something to joke about.
Hey, everything's something to joke about if you've got a joke about it. There's that. There's Kayla's depressing child murder story. It is interesting. I do want to listen to that audio because that sounds creepy as fuck. I do like stuff like that, like creepy audio, even though I don't believe in it. Like some of that ghost shit sounds creepy. Like even if it's not, if it's just audio tricks, it does sound creepy. Like literal chills down my spine. And that's what I got when you talked about what he said on the audio recording. Like that fucking creeped the shit out of me. But anyways, I also have a story for us, and then we've got one more proper segment, and then a little baby segment to close the show off with. And so my story is, Kayla, will you please tell the people about the Library of Alexandria?
Okay, so
just brief overview.
The Library of Alexandria was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and it was this giant library that was located in Alexandria, Egypt. I don't know exactly when it was built, like around the Roman times.
Yeah, probably
it was
when the Greeks got there.
And it was considered the biggest hub of knowledge in the world
At the time.
Yes.
You can visit it in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yes. Which was a big deal back in those days because libraries weren't really a thing, and so to have a library this big filled with all this knowledge,
it probably
was a big deal.
Contained a lot of the stuff we don't know about what they built, how they built the pyramids, how they built the Sphinx, all that shit that we kind of speculate about was probably in the Library of Alexandria. And you want me to tell what happened
anyone
to the
that doesn't know, the Library of Alexandria was burned down
maliciously? Purposely?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
By whom?
It may have been...
Was it the Egyptians or the Greeks?
This was...
a long time ago?
You're putting me on the spot. If you asked me to, look up stuff about the Library of Alexandria before, I could have told you.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's better this way. Because the story I'm going to talk about is almost sort of related.
It looks like it was destroyed in the 3rd century AD.
Okay. So roughly 200 something AD?
270.
Okay.
Ish.
So late 3rd century AD. Who fucking lit the match, man? Tell me. Did they burn it down for the insurance money? Is that what happened? Library of Alexandria, the first insurance fraud scam? No, you don't think that's likely?
The first person blamed for the destruction of the library was Julius Caesar.
See, because that's what I thought.
Maybe
that Caesar burned it down.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Not if it was around in still around in 300 AD.
No?
I don't know. This is the most awkward shit you've made me do.
I'm sorry. That's fun though. Research shit on my whim. Come on, Jamie. Look that up, Jamie. Pull up that picture of an ape, Jamie.
Nobody knows who destroyed it for sure.
Okay.
That's basically what... After Julius Caesar's death, it was generally believed that he was the one who destroyed the library.
Well, let's just, for the sake of argument, say Caesar did it.
They've pointed...
They like to blame him for lots of shit.
They've pointed to a lot of people, but the end of the story is basically what happened. It looks like is that the city of Alexandria was attacked at some point, and the library was burned in the process.
Yeah. And we lost a lot of the knowledge we had about the ancient world. Okay, so... I don't know if you heard about this story or not, but, and this is a story I found. It's on sciencemagazine.org. A couple people wrote it. I'll maybe link the article in the description. But it's about, and this happened just the other day. In Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, their national museum burned down to the fucking ground, destroyed everything inside. Alright, and I'll just, that's not what the article headline is. That'd be awesome if it was, though, but I'll briefly go through the article, okay? It says, a fire at the National Museum of Brazil in Rio de Janeiro has destroyed one of the country's most important scientific collections. No one was injured in the fire, which broke out after the museum had closed on Sunday evening, but the blaze ravaged the museum's massive archives and collections, numbering around 200 million items by some estimates. The museum had no sprinkler system, and only limited water was available from fire hydrants when firefighters arrived. So, Brazil doesn't have the best infrastructure in the world. Obviously, it's a third world nation. Maybe they should have put a little more funding into a sprinkler system in their fucking museum if there was so much shit in there. But I'm not trying to blame anyone. I just think this is an interesting story, and I think it's kind of sad. It's another, like I said, this is how it kind of relates, like a loss of knowledge. There was a lot of, like, scientific research they were doing and they had stored in this museum. Founded 200 years ago, before Brazil's independence from Portugal, the museum housed ancient Egypt, Greek, and Roman artifacts, important paleontology and natural history collections, including one of Latin America's oldest human fossils, the 11,500-year-old skull called Luzia, or Luzia, I don't know, Luzia. In recent years, budget woes had plagued the museum. Oh, so fucking, they were probably more well-funded before they had a shitty government. That sounds familiar. Scientists had warned as early as 2004 of dangerous wiring and lack of fire protection. So the actual headline of this article is, "It was a foretold tragedy. Fire destroys Brazil's National Museum and its prized science collection." So people who worked in the museum and worked for, like, the, I don't know what it would be, the Department of, like, History and Sciences in Brazil. Like, they'd been warning about this as early as 2004. Like, hey, you know, stuff's not really up to code in here. We've got a lot of important shit in here. Maybe we should funnel more money towards, I don't know, protecting some of it. And it appears nobody listened, and they've been trying to get something fixed for years now, at least a decade. Brazil has lost a huge hub of knowledge in their country, and it was totally preventable, and basically bureaucracy and lack of the people's understanding of the need to fund things like museums, things like the arts, things like education. Because people don't want to funnel money to programs like that, we lost a bunch of knowledge in the world. And I think that's pretty fucking sad and honestly disgusting. And that's why I wanted to talk about this story. I guess none of our stories are really yuck fests today in this episode.
Oh, they're gonna be.
Oh, they're gonna be? Alright, and now...
This is the main event.
For the main event.
Almost an hour in. So, I actually finally quit my job at McDonald's.
Woo!
I worked at McDonald's for
off and on
a cumulative total of about 3 years. Now I work at a gas station called Quick Trip. They're all over kind of the upper Midwest. They're amazing. If you ever, and I'm not just saying it's because I work there. Like, I love Quick Trip, and I go there like every day, even before I got a job there. But
because you no longer work at McDonald's.
Yes. I'm gonna tell you some stories.
One quick question.
Yeah.
When you, like, signed paperwork and stuff, do you remember any NDAs or...
I'm not... Okay, and that's big disclaimer, anyone that wants to listen to this part. This is not gonna be me talking shit about the McDonald's as a company. It's not gonna be me talking shit about their work practices or health or the treatment of the workers. This is pretty much exclusively going to be stories about my personal interactions with customers and maybe a couple with coworkers. Not going to name any names, and a lot of them
people whose names you would know.
I would know, but if I mention a coworker, I'm not going to say their name. But this is not going to be, I'm going to talk shit about McDonald's and how horrible of a place, because it's not a horrible place to work. It's kind of a shitty place to work if you work there for 3 years, but it's not, I definitely think it gets a bad rep as being like one of the worst places to work, and it really isn't.
Can I just really quick?
Yeah.
Since I have never worked for McDonald's and are under no obligations to suck McDonald's dick. Fuck McDonald's. Fuck McDonald's. They fucking suck. Alright, go on. Continue.
Okay.
Just wanted to get that out.
So... This is gonna be...
Suck my McDick!
This is gonna be stories about some of the greatest people I interacted with
Some of them genuinely are great.
Some of them are going to be funny, some of them are probably going to make you angry. So, I don't have, like, a list, so I'm sorry if, like, extemporaneously, and I'm going to tell probably Brian's favorite story first.
Please tell that one first.
So, this is from the first time I worked at McDonald's, so...
Can I act it out?
No. The first time I worked at McDonald's...
Is it because you're afraid I'm going to do a voice?
The first time I worked at McDonald's was from January of 2015 to December of 2015. So this happened sometime in there. I can't remember exactly.
I feel like it was in like late in the year. Like
I
maybe
think
September,
it was too.
November.
I think it was too. But anyways, so this guy comes through the drive-thru and, I answer. I was like, welcome to McDonald's. What can I get for you? And he goes, I just need one thing, and that's a motherfucking McWater. He said exact words, and I was like, we actually can't give you just a water through the drive-thru. He's like, what?
Oh man, I just wish you would let me. I just wish you would have let me act it out.
Do your voice.
No, I probably shouldn't.
But yeah,
I'm not Teflon Bry. I can't get away with that shit.
So that's he wanted a motherfucking McWater.
Although I do think I said the N-word earlier.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did actually. I did. You just didn't hear it because I slipped it in. The people will know.
Fuck that. No, they're not.
Yes, they will. They're gonna know because I'll edit the first half and you'll not know. I'm leaving it in. And it would be probably impossible for you to edit out because I kind of say it as you're saying something. So boom, leave that shit in there. Anyways, want a motherfucking McWater.
Yep. And then speaking of another funny
motherfucking
thing,
rack of ribs.
So this next one, also another drive-thru story. This happened like a couple days after the time change, the daylight savings change. So this would have been in like November or something. So I worked in the morning before I had class, and so this guy comes in the drive-thru. It's like 9:30, and he starts ordering just all of this food. And anyone that goes to McDonald's know that we have a lunch menu and a breakfast menu. And this was breakfast menu time, and he starts ordering all this shit off the lunch menu. I can't remember. But it was just this long-ass order. Like, he just kept going on and on and on, and we're not supposed to interrupt customers. And so he finally stops, and I said, we're serving breakfast right now. And he's like, what? It's 10:30. And I said, no, it's 9:30. And he goes, oh, shit! And he
just leaves?
He drives away.
I forgot that that's how that story ended. The dude couldn't, like... See, because normally, what do? You fucking order McMuffins and shit. You're like, oh, well then let me get the same amount, but in breakfast food. But he was just like, fuck, my clocks! Gotta go!
Yeah.
I forgot that that's how that story ended. That's fucking great. Because I just want to think, like, why was the fact that it was an hour earlier than he thought it was so important that he had to drive off and go do something else instead of get food?
The problem was that I think he wanted lunch food. Well, but it was an hour too early, and so he really had to just fucking sit there for an hour.
Doesn't pretty much, like, everyone start serving or stop serving breakfast around 11?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that, like...
10:30.
Most fast food places... Well, I know, but, around 11. I'm pretty sure that's, like, the universal thing. It's, like, breakfast until, like, 10-ish. Then they start serving lunch at 11. I'm pretty sure that's at least most fast food. Sorry, continue. What are you doing?
I tweeted a lot of this, so I'm kind of seeing if I can find any.
You can't just
ones.
Remember? Some of them traumatized you. Can't remember offhand? Fuckheads? I give you like 20 fuckhead stories at work off the top of my head right now.
Okay, so this is a story from the second time I worked at McDonald's, which is from May to July of 2016. First day, very first day is that this guy comes in. And this was like right after high school got out. And so there were like teenagers in there, and there was like this older guy who had to, like an adult. He had to have been like in his 30s, and he starts like picking a fight with like this like 15-year-old, I think it was a girl.
You think?
I think. She
they
was pretty.
It's a they!
Was pretty androgynous, but I'm pretty sure I heard that she was a girl.
David Bowie, then.
No, it was not David Bowie. But, so he starts picking a fight with these, like, kids. Like, in the middle of
kids
McDonald's.
Or one
kids.
girl? Okay.
There was a couple of them, but he was specifically, like, really getting on, like, this one girl.
The they.
Oh, you and your friends come here and just cause all sorts of trouble. He said something like that. And I remember the manager goes, if you guys need to get out of here, I'm calling the cops. And he's like, I didn't do anything. They're the one that are out there causing trouble. It's like, you're fighting with like a 14-year-old.
How old would you have said this person probably
I just
was?
said he's probably in his 30s.
Oh, fuck. Well, that's not that old.
Maybe. But when you're picking fights with like a 14-year-old, this kid couldn't have been much older than 14 or 15.
Teenagers are little fucks.
I don't care. You don't like start. It's not your job. Okay, if you think that like...
I mean, he's not getting paid for it.
If you think that like teenagers are out causing a ruckus outside of a store, notify the people in the store or call the cops if you're a really big pussy. It's not your business to go and verbally accost these teenagers, because I promise you, I was a teenager not that long ago. When adults come up and tell teenagers what to do, they don't listen. Like
sure. I still do that.
if adults ever came up to me and my friends and like was like, hey, you guys need to knock it off, or you need to stop, or you need to be quieter, that incentivizes us to do the exact opposite. So don't ever, if you see someone outside of like a McDonald's being hooligans,
hoodlums,
tell the people inside. It's not your job to take care of that.
What are other old-timey, like, whippersnappers? You damn kids! Get off Ronald McDonald's lawn!
Oh, and here's a story that at the same McDonald's didn't happen to me. But, so, this little kid, he's not a little kid, but this kid that I worked with, he was like 15, but he looked like he was 12. But something happened, like this lady ordered a fillet of fish, and something was wrong with it. And so instead of just like being like, hey, there's something wrong with my fish, can you please remake it? She decided to throw it at him. She threw a sandwich at this poor kid, who didn't make the sandwich, by the way. He was just on the register.
See, I love how your disclaimer at the beginning of this is like, McDonald's is not the worst place in the world to work. But if I was like a fucking 15-year-old kid and I worked as a fucking counter kid at McDonald's and someone threw a fucking fish sandwich in my face, I would go home. No, not just I would quit. Fucking quitting would be the beginning. I would go home and I would slit my fucking wrists and I would draw a goddamn McDonald's M on the wall in my blood.
Oh my god.
That's exactly what I would do.
I would have laughed. And also at this same McDonald's, I swear to God, this town that I worked in for the second time was like such a small town. It only had like 4,000 people in it. But so many freaking nuts people just came in there. There was also a woman that was banned from the premises because she came in with a cup and started an outside cup. She didn't, because like, as like a health code rule, you have to take a McDonald's cup. You can't bring an outside cup in. Even if it is a McDonald's cup, it has to be a cup that came from inside of the store if you fill it up. So this woman came in with an outside cup and the cashier was like, hey, you can't bring that in here. You have to get another cup. And so, I don't know. She got a cup. I don't know. I wasn't there. And she went outside and she banged on the window and she poured it all over the window.
That got her banned.
Yep, she was banned from McDonald's. Literally banned.
Did they ban the fucking bitch that slapped the poor kid in the face with
yes,
the fish? Okay.
Yes.
Well, hang on a second, because you like, I'm still stuck on the kid. What happened after the kid got slapped in the face with the fish sandwich?
I don't think he got hit with
Did he cry?
He didn't get hit with the sandwich. She threw it at him and he ducked out of the way.
Oh. Did he start yelling at her?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Did he say anything?
I wasn't there.
Oh.
But he was like... Yeah, and then there's also a customer that came into this McDonald's. And this was in 2016, so election year was in full swing, and this was like around midterms.
Uh-oh. Are we gonna get hot button?
Oh, God.
Don't get hot button,
Kayla. No. This isn't political. But there was this guy that would come in, and he would tell anyone who would listen. He obviously listened to too much Alex Jones. He would come in and tell anyone who would listen.
About gay frogs?
No.
You left me wide open for that. What was
I love how every
to do?
time I try to, like, tell a story, you have to, like, interrupt me by your laughter.
I'm sorry.
Anyways.
Your shit is...
Anyways. He would tell everyone about how Obama was going to declare martial law and give himself a third term as president, and how they were gonna, like, how they were planning, like, nuclear attacks on the citizens. He would tell this to everyone. He told it to all the customers, all the other customers that came in. He told it to the people that work there. It was nuts. And this happened, like, every day. He would do this. I heard the story about how Obama's gonna declare martial law at least 10 times while I worked there. And I only worked there for 3 months. Another story, most recently, this actually happened not long before I quit. I know it's a big meme about the ice cream machine at McDonald's not working. It's not true. I can tell you exactly why when people... Okay, so usually what's happening is the machine is being cleaned. And
why do they say it's broken?
Because it's a lot easier to explain that it's just broken than having people be like, oh,
I don't know. It seems like the exact same amount of syllables going to explaining one or the
I
other.
don't know.
But real quick, while we're talking about this, can you please put up the meme about that?
No, I'm not going to.
Put up the meme.
No.
Food broke.
But anyways. And that was the question I hated when people would come through the drive-thru. Your ice cream machine working? Yes. How many times do you come here and it's not working?
Enough times for them to feel the need to ask about it.
It doesn't happen very often. There was one time where the machine genuinely was broken, and that's like the only time I can think it was actually broken.
Did you tell them that it needed to be clean while it was broken?
No, it was actually broken. It didn't work.
Because you seem to fucking tell them it's broken when it's being clean, so why not tell them it's being clean while it's broken? That seems to be the way shit works.
I would say it was for cleaning, but that's a lot of the times it's just... People come in and you say, oh, I'm sorry, our ice cream machine's being clean. And they're like, well, why can't I still get ice cream? What do you mean it's being clean?
Well, that's a stupid person.
Because they think it still works. Like, they don't understand that it comes out of a machine.
Do you want fucking...
that has... Dawn
in your ice cream, homie?
We don't... If you've been to McDonald's, we don't scoop ice cream. It's come from, like, liquid ice cream and it comes out air compressed and it's ice cream.
Soft serve.
Yes.
Isn't it frozen yogurt?
No. It's ice cream.
I think it is. It's not technically.
It is not frozen yogurt. Look, listen to this fucker.
Frozen dairy
product.
I am
the one that worked at McDonald's, and he's the one that's telling me, "Oh no, it's frozen yogurt, motherfucker."
Technically, ice cream. It's like some derivative, like the super cheap shit you can buy in like giant buckets. That's like $5. Like that's not technically ice cream. It's something else. It's like super processed. Fuck you.
Can I finish my fucking story?
I'm gonna fucking hit you, bitch.
Hey, so this person comes to the drive-thru.
Calm it down.
Hey, is your ice cream machine working? Yes. Alright, could I get a strawberry smoothie? And I had to turn off my mic and cover my... Like, I had to cover my mouth, actually. I didn't turn off my mic. I had to cover my mouth because I was about to fucking die. Because as McDonald's workers, they are two different machines. We don't make smoothies out of the ice cream machine.
Okay, well, you're probably the only person except who would know that. Someone coming through.
What do you mean? If you go to McDonald's, you can see the smoothie machine is a different machine than the ice cream machine.
I think you give the average person
McCafe, but
way more of the benefit of a doubt.
Yeah, I give them too much of the benefit of the doubt, but you don't understand why it's easier to explain to someone that the ice cream machine just doesn't work, period, than explaining to it why it's cleaning.
No, I understand why. I just wanted to argue about it. Are you angry again?
Yeah.
It's one of those sessions where you're going to be mad at me afterwards.
Also,
like every session.
One time I dropped the Big Mac gun on the, not even on the floor, on the counter, and it bounced and it shot Mac sauce up onto the ceiling. It was like all over the light. And that's, if you drop those, like, sauce guns, they will squirt all over the ceiling. What? It's funny. Oh, and then there was a coworker. So, like, at the end of the night, we have to clean the fry machine, the fry station. And she took out all the stuff that was underneath of it, and she set it, and she ended up knocking over. So we set it on, like, this little pallet, and she ended up knocking over the whole thing. So we spilled, like, thousands of boxes of fries.
Which is
little
the
fry
only
boxes.
Good thing at McDonald's.
No, not the actual fries,
boxes.
the little boxes that you put them in.
Okay. Well, those are good, too. You ever eat those?
The same coworker also spilled a whole bag of ketchup on the ground.
A bag of ketchup?
A bag of ketchup.
Oh, man. I know how big, like, restaurant bags of shit is. That's big. That's
a lot of ketchup. It was like a 3-gallon bag of ketchup. Ooh. Or 3 or 5 gallon bag of ketchup, and she spilled it all on the floor.
That's a lot of ketchup.
It was. Oh, and there was one time I ripped my pants at work. What? Don't sing the song.
Can you layer it underneath?
No.
Yes, you can.
So I went... So they're like, go get me some oatmeal. And the oatmeal at my store, for some reason, on the skids in the back, was on the very top shelf, so it was on the, like, pretty much on the ceiling. And so you're not supposed to do this, but it's a lot easier than trying to find, like, a step ladder. So I just climbed up the skids, because they're basically like ladders. And I went up and I grabbed the oatmeal, and as I was stepping down, this is why you're not supposed to climb. I missed the bottom step, and I fell, and my pants already had a hole in them, and they just ripped. Like, the entire crotch was just fucking gone. We also had to ban... Oh! I'm sorry. I get easily distracted by my own stories, so... First one, we had to ban a homeless guy. Because he started fights. He was starting a fight with a bunch of teenagers outside. Different story than the first one I just told, but there's this crazy homeless guy that carried, like, a bag, and he, like, was very improperly clothed. And he would come in, like, every night. And then he was outside starting fights with, like, teenagers. He's obviously on drugs or something. And, yeah, and then they got a call. We called the cops, and they said that, yeah, they had to kick him out of the McDonald's on the west end of town, too. So this guy's been banned from 2 McDonald's. That's sad. You should not be getting banned from 2 different McDonald's. There's an old guy who came in, who we didn't know at the time, but he was absolutely shit-faced drunk, and so it was time to close. And so the manager goes out and he's sleeping. This guy's sleeping in the booth, and so she, like, wakes him up, and she's like, "Sir, time to go, we're about to close." And he turns over, and she said he just reeked of alcohol. And as he was getting up, he fell on the ground. I don't know if he just fell because he was drunk, or because he was hoping he could get some cash. You can never rule that out when people fall in a restaurant.
Ah, my neck!
But he was laying on the ground and then he refused to get up, so I feel like he may have just been like trying to be like, oh, look it, I fell and hurt myself.
I'm suing y'all!
And so they called...
I want $150,000!
We called the cops on him. And the cops came and took him away, and he was also banned from McDonald's, because you're not allowed to come into McDonald's drunk. There's also a guy that fell asleep in the drive-thru of the McDonald's. And he wouldn't wake up. Like, they went outside and they were, like, banging on his windows. He was also shit-faced drunk. Like, had a whole bottle of Jack, like, in his passenger seat. And he was shit-faced and he fell asleep. So, drunk and driving, open bottle of liquor in the passenger seat. And so the cops came and they took him away too. And he was also banned from McDonald's. And Brian seems to be bored with this, so we're gonna move on.
No, not at all. We don't have to. Not if you have more. It's just there's not a lot I can say about this stuff. But this is what you wanted to do.
I mean,
I have no problem.
The next big thing I could talk about, because I can't think of any more really good stories off the top of my head, is like things that drive me nuts. As like a public service announcement.
Oh, I don't think we should do that. That's almost like a whole nother thing. We'll do that next time. How about we do that next time? You could give your, like, what you should do when you order in a drive-thru. And what you should
How to properly treat fast food workers, even if you're really angry at them.
This is the episode where, if any, like, hardcore Republican people listen, they're gonna stop listening. You damn entitled fast food workers and your blah blah blahs. That's definitely gonna happen. I sense that already. But that's alright. We don't want you fuckers anyways.
Okay.
Fuck
Time
you.
to wrap up. What?
Oh! Okay, so for our final little bitty segment, I don't know exactly how long we'll do of it. Maybe we'll do more and we'll condense it down to just the good ones. But scan BC, Kayla.
I thought this was my thing.
Well, I'm gonna scan some BC this time. Okay. All right. Scan BC, Kayla. Prince George Fire Department is on scene at Central Street East and 10th Avenue. Let me reread this. Fire department is on scene at Central Street East and 10th Avenue with a giant inflatable duck that hit the power lines and knocked out the power. A duck.
Don't they have one of those that floats in the bay in Toronto?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
But this is
Prince George.
Columbia,
yeah.
So it's the opposite end of Canada.
It is the opposite end of Canada. Look at you knowing geography. I don't know anything about geography. We should talk about that for 20 minutes. No, I don't care about actual... See, okay, ScanBC, like, obviously a lot of them are really funny because they're, like, silly shit. But some of them are, like, you know, car pileup and, like, forest fire. So you kind of gotta scroll through those when you're trying to scan some BC. Scan BC, Kayla. Victoria police are responding to Fisherman's Wharf for reports of a group of teenage boys physically fighting over a cell phone. That's mine! It's my cell phone.
I imagine, like, one, like, took the phone and, like, wouldn't give it back.
Or it, like, washed up on shore. And they're like, oi! It's one of those cell phones.
Canada's...
One of those newfangled cell phone inventions that they have over in the States. We don't get those up here.
They have cell phones in Canada.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think all they have in Canada is moose. Moose and hockey pucks. They subsist on a diet of only moose and hockey pucks. No? See now you're all leaned back and out of it.
I'm, like, fucking burning up in here.
You don't want to scan BC?
We don't have, like, a central air conditioning unit. And so all we have is a window air conditioner. And so we can't turn that on while we're recording because it'll be way too loud. And so I'm burning up right now.
Well, maybe this'll make you feel better. Alright? Scan BC, Kayla. Transit police are currently chasing a male that took off his pants and then ran down the tracks from Gateway towards Scott Road Station. Trains currently stopped in the area. Could you imagine if you're, like, This is in Surrey. If you're on your fucking commute into downtown Surrey and you're like taking the fucking trains, it's like, oh, the trains are stopped. Why are the trains stopped? Dude pulled out his wiener.
Naked guy runs
started
by.
running down the tracks. A naked guy just runs by.
Don't pee on the train tracks, because then you'll get electrocuted.
You will get electrocuted. That'll happen. And don't leave cats on the train track, because then they'll have to shut down an entire line in Manhattan for like 8 hours. Did you ever hear about that story? Scan BC, Kayla. Sook, or Sookie, Sooke.
Skokie.
Skokie? Is that how that's pronounced? That's weird.
Wait, what?
It's Sooke.
Oh, never mind.
Okay, shut up then. Sook RCMP are responding to a residence on East Suki Road for reports of a male riding his lawnmower naked. Lots of people.
Is this Illinois? What is
lots
this?
of people get naked in Canada. That seems to be a majority. It's like people.
Why?
People taking out their penises and like jerking it, and like people just getting naked because you go crazy. That's why it's like cold and you never see the sunlight. You go stir crazy and you take your clothes off. That's what you do, man. Victoria police are responding to the Johnson Street Bridge for a group of youths climbing up it. Get down from there, eh? That bridge isn't for climbing, it's for driving over. That's how they would say it. Victoria crews are responding to the 1400 bulk of Government Street to assist a male who got his hand stuck in the ATM. I forgot my card, eh?
Yeah.
I just want my money.
Oh, yeah.
It won't give me my money. I put in all the correct information. It won't spit the money out. It won't spit the money out. I says to myself, I'll get that money.
That's definitely not what happened.
You don't know.
He's like, I'm gonna steal from this ATM, and he just thinks he can just reach up in there and be like, hey, money! No. Also, it's not block. BLK
Bulk.
stands for block.
Oh, whatever. Fuck you. Block? They're weird over there. We have streets and roads and avenues, and they have blocks.
You don't know what a block is?
I know what a block is, but I don't know what a 1400 block is.
The 1400th block of
I don't
the
know
road.
how that works!
Of the street it's on.
So instead of having cross sections, they just number the blocks.
Okay.
What? Why are you looking at me like that? I don't know Canada. How do you know Canada? I know what a block is, bitch.
So, I'm gonna explain it real simply.
Fuck you!
So, we're gonna use my house back in Illinois. The number of the house is 708.
Yes.
So, if you were to say, like, if there's a crime, I'm not gonna say the name of the street, but like, there's a crime at the 700th block of
I understand
blank
that. I understand
road.
that, but no one else talks like that.
I've never seen it. That's how police talk!
I've never seen it anywhere
That's
but
a police
Scan BC.
scanner.
Is
police
it?
Scanner
Okay,
talk.
whatever, if you say so. Central Saanich crews are responding to Stelly's secondary school for reports of a go-kart crash. That's how you know it was a slow police day. Like, there were no actual automobile accidents, so they're like, fuck! We gotta respond to something!
Secondary school?
Go-kart! Yeah, secondary school.
So it's like...
It's like middle schoolers. Yeah, I think so. Victoria police are responding to the area of Fort and Douglas for reports of an intoxicated male who removed a manhole cover and climbed down.
Yeah. That's a good way to die.
He just read Stephen King's It.
That's how you fucking die.
He was looking for a clown in the sewer. He saw a balloon floating out of the manhole cover. I'll float down there, eh? God damn it.
I boil down there.
You think so?
Yes. Do you know what a manhole covers?
Yeah, it leads to the sewer.
Boiling water.
Sewage stuff. Victoria police are responding to Government House for reports of a female rolling on the ground naked, making cat noises.
Oh my god.
Ma'am, would you please stop that?
That sounds like a meth thing. This lady is on meth.
Oh my god, what the fuck? That's great.
Two more.
Two more? Alright. Suki RCMP are responding. RCMP, this is Royal Canadian Mounted
You
Police.
already said that!
But I would just like to point out, when the RCMP is responding, like, think of, like, these are kind of like a mix between the state
like
police
the state troopers.
and the FBI, too, though, because they, like, investigate, like, organized crime in Canada, too, I'm pretty sure. So these are, like, important cops, and so this is the stuff they get responding to, alright? RCMP are responding to a residence after the occupant says their cat dialed 911 by mistake. Was it the cat, or was it the naked lady rolling around on the ground making cat noises? He threw his phone under her. She dialed 911 by mistake. He was like, I just wanted you to see this. Look at this shit. Meow! Meow! Alright, and last one. West Shore RCMP are responding to the area of Helmcken. Holy fuck. Helmcken. Helmcken Road. Helmcken. Gimme! Fuck you! You can't pronounce Canadian shit any more than I can.
It's like a German word.
Helmcken Road and Trans-Canada Highway for a male that jumped on the back of a moving flatbed truck. This is how we skateboard in Canada. Go!
I was gonna say, again, this sounds a lot like Illinois.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of places, like Saskatchewan especially, is pretty much the Canadian equivalent of the Midwest. So, like, Central Canada is pretty much...
So this is British Columbia.
The Midwest. Yeah, but... Okay, they start drinking at, like, 19 in Canada, so they're just all alcoholics.
Yep.
They're just all publicly drunken alcoholics who take their clothes off and roll around on the cat naked making cat noises.
What? Roll around the cat naked
Roll around on the ground naked making cat noises. This is going to become a recurring character on the podcast.
It's not.
Lady making cat noises.
I'm 86 in that right now. Hell no. Every future episode that you make that, I'm editing it out. Thanks for spitting all over me. Okay, say goodbye!
Alright, I think Kayla's upset with me. And so we're not going to scan any more BC. And this is the end of this episode. I think we've gone on long enough. We had some laughs. We got depressed about murdered children. We got mad at McDonald's. And people are idiots. And I think that's a good way to wrap up any given episode about anything. So, for the Let It Out podcast, I've been Brian.
I'm Kayla.
Fucking lounging back on the couch. She's probably barely gonna pick up on the mic.
I'm Kayla!
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here.